It's time to play the show. The bell has rung, and that big show might be over, but it's time for us to bring wrestling information you can enjoy with the match predictions, analysis, the ups and downs of professional wrestling, all reaction, some beverage drinking to bring you Logic on Tap with your good brothers. It's time for you to look into the eyes of Howard Blues and the Mark Kidder on Beer, Blues, and BS.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Beer, Blues, and BS, the podcast that likes to say the Colorado Avalanche are the Stanley Cup champions, and we are the best podcast in the world. But this is a special wrestling edition as we look at and through the forbidden door. I'm your host, Howard Blues, here, as always, with my co-host, the man, the myth, the guy who was pulling double duty tonight, the legend, the Mark Kidder. Kidder, how you doing tonight?
Woo! 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 Yeah! Woo! Yeah! It's a good night! Woo! Woo! Aside from taking a flat screen TV to the jugular earlier today in preparation for tonight's show, I'm doing great. Way to go, Avalanche! 20. Let's see, what would that have? 21 years, 25 years, something along those lines. 2001. So it's been long enough. Doing the math, it's late. We've been doing this long enough for today. So before I get completely sidetracked, off the chart, off the chain, a quick plug. Please subscribe if you're watching this. Click the thumbs up to like it. We're also on Facebook. We're on all over the internet, if you will, with the audio and video versions of the show. And, of course, that website for you is beerbluesbs.com, beerbluesbs.com. Got our own merch on there, plus the links to all of the places that we are located for the audio and video versions. So please visit us there and like us at the appropriate locations. Thanks for joining us for this. As my cohort Howard Blues already said, the thing that we love to do with this show, if you are for tuning in for the first time, first of all, thank you. Second of all, we love to do a What's on Tap right at the top of the show. And then sometimes a second and a third, depending on how long we end up talking. Hopefully not too terribly long tonight. We'll get right on with it with a What's on Tap this evening. And as Howard Blues knows, I have been saving this specific beer for this specific night, and it just happened to be with this specific show. Very, very excited to pull it out of the fridge. Yes, it is Mountain Time, the premium lager from New Belgium Brewing Company, a sponsor of your champions, Colorado Avalanche. Yes, once again, a very tasty beverage. If you have not had this, well, it's cold and refreshing as snow melt in spring. Mountain Time Lager is brewed with the only finest ingredients by New Belgium Brewing, a certified B Corp and Colorado craft beer icon. And when you look at the back of the can, you can see that it is a Ball Corporation related aluminum. So, Mountain Time it is for Colorado Avalanche Stanley Cup champions. Damn, it feels good to say that. What's on tap for you, Howard Blues, as I take in this Mountain Time?
Well, Kidder, I do not have a Mountain Time. And I do promise also, if you clicked on this video or download this thinking, gosh, you're going to talk wrestling and going, what's with all this hockey talk? We'll get there. We promise. It's just an exciting night. Kidder and I decided to celebrate with the last one of these that I have, but it is from Mule 2.0, the Moscow Mule. The authentic flavor of a 1941 Moscow Mule, but established now. Yeah. So I decided to go with that.
Established now, like right now. This moment.
Now.
On Beer, Blues, and BS.
Yeah. Not in the past. Now. That's good. Yeah, with these guys, Kidder, if they were to do like the WWE classic, like intro logo, it would just get now. That would be it. It'd be the shortest intro ever.
But knowing WWE, if it were in that style, it would be drug out over 6 months and still not have a point.
We're firing cheap shots already. Clearly, something good must be happening because we're going in guns a-blazing, full of fire and fun.
No vinegar this evening. Just tasty beverages, some good wrestling, and even better hockey. So let's, as they say, let's go! Let's get down to it. It is AEW and New Japan Pro Wrestling Forbidden Door. Had to do it a second time just to make sure that the emphasis is adequately placed on this show. You had a thought there. I don't want to continue without you saying your thought.
I was just also going to throw in, since we're doing a lot for the first-time listener, and a reviewer, if you don't know how we do these, in the past, Kidder and I would sit down and watch the show together. Life has kind of kept me from being able to watch a lot of wrestling. So Kidder has watched the show. I haven't. But the other thing that we've always done now for many years, one of these days I'll do the math and figure out when I started this, or at least look that far back into the spreadsheet. But we do predictions with every pay-per-view, trying to just see what we think, give our thoughts, who we think is going to be the winners and such, and we keep score for no reason except for bragging rights. So, yeah. Not the WWE pay-per-view, just bragging rights.
And just because it's fun to see if we can completely predict the show or have it kind of free-for-all, like I feel tonight was a free-for-all, or just a complete and utter failure. Like, there's a couple of them, the WWE pay-per-views that are complete and utter failures, like Money in the Bank. Anyway, 13 matches to get to this evening, and so we will try to go rapid fire. Howard Blues is already stretching because he knows how god-awful long this is going to be. So, let's get down to business. Tonight, the buy-in had 3 matches on it? No, 4 matches in 1 hour. I was like, let's do this all the time. And then we still went to 11 o'clock anyway. I'm like, come on! Get it done earlier or move it to Saturday night. That would be even better. So the plus thing for the next WWE live premium event, which if you want to show off your support for live premium events, you can get a Triple B shirt at beerbluesbs.com. This says live premium events. But Money in the Bank is on a Saturday night. So that's something for us to look forward to. And maybe, just maybe, Howard Blues and I will be able to get together in the same place for it and break this down. So the first match on the big show, the big buy-in, is Bishamon, which is Hiroki Goto and Yoshihashi versus the Factory of Aaron Solo and QT Marshall, a straight tag team match. This happened to be 8 minutes, 55 seconds. You will see me, of course, looking around here and there because I have notes here and there and here and everywhere. So the first one, who do you have on the list? Who do you think will win this one?
I'm going to take Goto and his partner, Yoshihashi. Yes.
I also went with the team of Yoshi and Hiroki. So this match was 8 minutes, 55 seconds long. And they started off where Solo and Marshall were playing the heels. So, of course, the crowd is giving them the business. This match was fast-paced, as you can tell by it being under 9 minutes in length. But it didn't really do a lot in the terms of selling and making you really believe. It just kind of felt like there was a lot of action spot to spot. They ended up, as in Goto and Yoshihashi, scoring the victory there to kick off the entire show. The overall match, there was a lot of good stuff that happened throughout the night, and then a lot of So, again, we'll get to that. So, Howard and I, as you can see in the scoreboard up here, both a point each for that one. Next match on the buy-in, can't call it the kickoff show because that's, the other promotion. This one features Lance Archer and Nick Comoroto in a singles match. This one I picked nobody because on the sheet that we had, we didn't have this one. If I were going to pick somebody, I would pick Lance Archer.
I would pick Lance Archer too, even though his nickname happens to be Murder Hawk, which is awfully, close to infringing on the copyright of a certain serial killer bird that lives in my neighborhood. Just saying. So
it's a good thing that they're not anywhere close in proximity, and maybe good for him that he'll never see this show, so we won't get sued. This match was 6 minutes and 10 seconds. This one was another pretty quick match, as you could tell by it being just over 6 minutes. So essentially the factory, as part of that faction, was in the ring for 2 matches in a row, right? A lot of what you would consider the powerhouse of wrestlers from each of those factions continuing to throw down. Aside from that, good physicality. They really had the size and power matchup between the two, but 6 minutes doesn't really give you a lot of time to tell a huge story, right? So you do a couple moves, there's a big spot here, a little bit of a move and a counter, and then a big move here, and then, well, you're done. Well, Archer was able to pick up the victory. He hit his blackout finisher, and again, very quick and okay match. So there's number 2. Again, 6 minutes, 10 seconds. See, we're flying along. We're already to number 3 on the buy-in for this show. So the third one ends up being Swerve in Our Glory, which is Keith Lee and Swerve Strickland, against Suzuki Gun, the team of El Desperado and Yoshinobu Kanemaru. I'm sorry. I'm going to butcher the name. This was a tag match and was just over 12 minutes in length. I picked Swerve Strickland and Keith Lee to pick up the victory on this one.
That's who I would go with too. Just for the record on this, I used to, when I was following wrestling a bit more, one of the podcasts that I listened to followed New Japan Wrestling. So I'm a bit familiar with some of the names, although I haven't listened to that podcast in about 2 years now. So I don't know everybody who's still in New Japan. So these are names I don't recognize. So that's why I'm going to go Keith Lee and Swerve, just to be honest about why I'm going that way.
Yes. And I mean, Swerve Strickland and Keith Lee are very hot as a tag team and kind of fighting with each other in the back here and there. Anyway, so this was 12 minutes, 5 seconds, again, just over 12 minutes, the third buy-in match. And Swerve and Lee spent more time on the defense than the offense. which I suppose you would expect because Keith Lee being a very large presence in the ring, they're going to keep targeting him and keep doing what they can to keep him down, right? So what they really did throughout the match is to try and build up some of the tension as well between Swerve Strickland and Keith Lee, and then have them really play it out in the ring where they're working, how can they coexist almost? So Swerve and Desperado were really the two people in this match who ended up shining through, if you will. They did a bunch of different combinations throughout the match. The last couple minutes of the match really were the highlights, with Lee and Swerve able to secure the win on this one. And then Team Taz taunted them from the crowd. Powerhouse Hobbs and Mr. Ricky Starks up there in the one of the suites on the suite level, calling them out. So now the feud moves more so because they've been calling each other out in the back for the past couple of weeks. They will continue that feud, and I know they've been talking about the FTW championship, getting that off of Ricky Starks, as in Keith Lee wanting to take it from him. But there's that one. And as you can see, we are 3 for 3. Ready for the final on the buy-in?
Yeah, let's keep this pace up because, man, Kidder, we might actually be in bed before midnight at this rate.
Now you did it.
I know.
All right. So this match, to finish out the first hour, was only 5 minutes, 35 seconds. And this was an 8-man tag match. 4-on-4. Max Caster and the Gun Club against Iya Yumara, Alex Coughlin, the DKC, and Kevin Knight. So I picked the Gun Club, or the Ass Boys, and Max Caster because his partner is still injured. Your thoughts?
Kidder, at this rate, we're 3 for 3. We've been picking the same ones. Let's have some drama. Let's have some tension. I'll take the other guys.
Oh, no. Okay. All right. So this one, I've been really getting a kick out of the entrance from Max Caster and the Acclaimed. The Acclaimed have arrived. It's just hilarious. Get them going. And how they've tied in the Gun Club, Billy Gunn's kids, Austin and Colton. It's hilarious. They're making them look like idiots because after the rap part of their intro, Max Caster hands off the mic to say, his partner, and then he yells what city they're in, and the Acclaimed have arrived. But Austin and Colton have been grabbing the microphone, and they say some other random city. So then the other one grabs it and says some other random city. And then, of course, finally, they're like, no, you idiots, grab it. And then say the actual city that they're in, and the Acclaimed have arrived, or the Acclaimed and the Ass Boys have arrived, because they don't want to be called the Ass Boys. It's, again, humor. After the entrance, Danhausen appears on the screen. Hey, everybody, I have a special gift for the Ass Boys. And then he disappears, and this theme song starts playing. The Ass Boys, whatever. So Austin and Colton take off. They just disappear. They run. And I'm like, okay. They're looking for Danhausen because, they got taunted. So they have the 4-on-2 advantage. So they end up hitting the bell. Match goes on, and Max Caster and Billy Gunn are going as best they can, again, 4-on-2, right? Well, they're turning into the underdogs in this match because there's only the two of them, so they're rotating through people and getting the crap beat out of them. Well, it turns out Max Caster gets the upper hand, is able to start clearing the ring. Billy Gunn gets tagged in because everybody is chanting for Ass Man to get tagged in. Billy Gunn has some sweet offense, blasts them all, gives them the suck it into the Famouser, I believe is what it was. And there's the 1, 2, 3. The Ass Boys, i.e. the Gun Club, and the Acclaimed are the winner. So this one was kind of all over the place with, sloppy moments. Obviously, the distraction right at the beginning, and suddenly 2 of the 4 people disappear, and then it's a 4-on-2 and trying to find a flow. This being 5 minutes, 35 seconds, very fast to try and tell a story. So that's the end of that. Your thoughts?
Yeah. Oh, well. I lost a point. Who cares? Move on.
Okay.
To the main show.
All right. Now, unlike WWE, this actually counts. So the first match on the card, match number 5, is Minoru Suzuki and the Jericho Appreciation Society. Sorry, the Jericho Appreciation Society against Eddie Kingston, Shota Umino, and Wheeler Yuta. This is a 6-man tag match. Building up to this, Eddie Kingston said that he basically wanted to murder Chris Jericho and wanted to taste his blood. On Dynamite? Or was it Rampage? They kind of blended together this week. Eddie Kingston grabbed a pen from the announce desk and ran after Jericho, trying to stab his eye out. I think it was on Rampage, because that's usually where Jericho is sitting on commentary. Anyway, so this one, I ended up picking... Who did I pick? Maybe it wasn't even on the list. But yeah. While I'm looking, or while you're looking, what do you think? This is the problem, trying to send in the stuff before it happens, because we didn't quite get all of the matches apparently. So
yeah. Yeah, I don't seem to have it on your list.
Yep.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Don't think it was, unless I tried to.
Your wife had it
type
on
Suzuki.
Yeah, your wife had it on hers. So
yeah. Anyway, for this one, I would end up having to go with the Jericho Appreciation Society, because they're really I guess you could say on the top of their game at the moment. Having the new faction, getting Sammy Guevara back into the fold with them, and then Jericho having the Chris Jericho Appreciation Society Wrestler of the Week, or Sports Entertainer of the Week, not Wrestler of the Week. So there is that.
Yeah. On this one, I was having a tough time because, man, AEW kind of a big deal out of Wheeler Yuta right off the beginning. So I could see them not wanting to have him pinned. However, at the same time, he's on a team with Eddie Kingston, and Kingston hasn't done the best at AEW pay-per-views. So I'm going to go Jericho on this one.
All right. All right. The TV is still getting me. 19 minutes long. was this match. Now, first featured as they came down to the ring, of course, Ty Conti being there to help get in with the cheap heat from the crowd, because that's really what they do. Fight started right away when the bell rang. They barely even tried to use tags, so it really was not, your traditional tag match, because they were just going straight at it for the first few minutes. Everyone eventually settled back into the corners and then started, obeying the tag team regulations, one person per team in the ring at a time. But even saying that is kind of a stretch, because there's a lot of shenanigans, a lot of chaos with this. Now, the interesting thing with this, because there are 6 people involved, they're out of the ring and they're screwing around while the match itself is going on. So there's something for you to watch throughout the entire match. On top of that, there's some blood. That's kind of expected, right? So the match wasn't perfect by any stretch of the imagination, but it was entertaining. Of course, because Ty Conti is there, she ends up interfering. She hit Umino with a bat, didn't really slow him down. And then it took several super kicks to Sammy Guevara and a headbutt from Suzuki to get him to release a Boston Crab on Chris Jericho. Now, when the dust ends up finally settling, Chris Jericho hit the Judas Effect on Umino to get the win on that one. So Jericho, Guevara, and Suzuki are your winners in this 19-minute match. Just so you are aware, with this, the stipulation added was that the winning team receives a man advantage for the Blood and Guts match, which is this Wednesday on Dynamite. Not a pay-per-view.
Mm-hmm. Yep. The Blood and Guts match, for those who don't, which if you're watching this, you probably already know, it's kind of a take on War Games. So, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. We'll see how it goes on Wednesday night. Next one. I think this was the match that I was looking forward to for the show. It features FTR, Cash Wheeler, Dax Harwood, versus the United Empire, the Great O'Khan and Jeff Cobb, against Roppongi Vice, Ricky Romero, and Trent Beretta. So this is a 3-way tag team match for the Ring of Honor World Tag Team Championship and the IWGP Tag Team Championship, because FTR holds the Ring of Honor tag team titles, and United Empire has the IWGP Tag Team Championships. This one I went with FTR.
Yeah, this one's tough. Because United Empire is, I believe, associated with Will Ospreay, who has been phenomenal for quite a few years now and such. So I could see, letting them keep it. But I like FTR, so I'm going to go FTR because I like FTR, and I haven't given them enough love on these predictions. So I'm choosing them.
Okay. So this match, again, in the 3-way winner takes all tag team match, 16 minutes, 25 seconds. Now, as we start off the match, Dax Harwood and Trent Beretta start as the legal man, so Jeff Cobb and the Great O'Khan had to sit on the sidelines. First few minutes into the match, Dax Harwood was escorted to the back because he had reportedly suffered an injury. So now it sucks, right? Especially because Cash Wheeler's out there by himself doing some work, getting beat up. Well, the good news, he returned several minutes later, and he's all wrapped up, just taped up, and even with the potential injury, whether it's real or fake, storyline, he was going to town in this match. With this one, there was some improvisation due to, I guess you could say, with Harwood having to leave for a little bit. But, I mean, it was a really good match. It's possible that he was actually injured when he went for the elbow drop, but it's not too sure. I mean, we'll probably find out on Dynamite on Wednesday. Aside from that, there were close calls through the match. The very, very, very close counts, 2.9998351. But the FTR pick up the victory, the 1-2-3, and they get, that's right, their third tag team championship reign at the same time here, being the AAA tag team champions, the Ring of Honor tag team champions, and now the IWGP World Tag Team champions. Congratulations to FTR. That match again, 16 minutes, 25 seconds.
I'm actually kind of surprised that they did that. The interesting thing is you really have two promotions here working together, and you have some of their different titles on the line. So it's interesting to see how they're playing this up, and interesting to kind of see what are the negotiations back and forth, because neither side is ever going to want you to pin their best guy, So it's interesting to see how this is all playing out.
And that's kind of what I was thinking of too when I was going through and trying to think of the potential outcome for this show, right? It is really an AEW show, even though the New Japan announcer was there with Justin Roberts and said everything in Japanese after Justin Roberts, and that the English commentator was also there with Taz, Excalibur, and Jim Ross. So while it was collaboration, it's still very much an AEW pay-per-view. So that's kind of the way I went with it. And as we continue on, you'll probably see or think that truly was the case. So the next match on the card is the four-way match for the inaugural AEW All-Atlantic Championship, even though there are two countries that don't touch the Atlantic Ocean represented on the front of that championship belt, which we've discussed on this show before. If you haven't seen that episode, please visit our YouTube page and take a look at the archive of the Beer, Blues, and BS episodes. As for tonight, it is a fatal four-way. Malachi Black, the Bastard Pack, the Redeemer Miro, and Clark Connors, because we need another cowboy in this match. This match ended up being 15 minutes, 5 seconds. I chose Miro on this one.
Interesting choice. I'm going to go with my favorite guy who's in this match, Malachi Black, because I like Malachi Black. So that's all I got for logic. I'm just choosing who I want at this point. I'm not going to lie, Kidder. This is like I always kind of know a little bit about the storyline and such of what's going into one of these pay-per-views, and that can kind of help. Or I've seen some news or I've listened to some things, so I kind of have a little bit of idea what's going on. I got nothing. I have not Like the only AEW story I've been following is the injury story. And so like I got nothing on this. So this is a lot of me just throwing darts at the old dartboard with the blindfold on and hoping something hits. Like my pen.
Well, yeah, just put it anywhere. It's fine. Just put it anywhere. Again, 15 minutes, 5 seconds. The other piece to mention, because, I wouldn't have known anyway, but Connors is ended up replacing Tomohiro Ishii after a recent injury kept him from competing in this match. Not that it would really matter in the long run, I guess. So Black and Pac paired up to fight while Miro took on Connors. But of course, that's not going to, last forever because every man for himself. Everybody then switched opponents, worked together, beat each other up. I mean, there was a lot of back and forth with this one. With Pac, I love watching him wrestle because, the man Gravity Forgot, if you remember him from his WWE tenure. He's done a lot of crazier stuff over here in AEW, so it's always fun to watch the bastard take on pretty much everybody. So pretty much a standard fatal four-way match where you would expect, again, the shenanigans, the chaos, different things to that effect. But the nice thing is that it felt a little bit more improvised. So you had some of the pre-planned standard spots, but there were more random as they came up. So good on them for, basically doing that. The crazy thing, at one point, they grabbed a table and set it up on the barricade by the fans, which I was like, oof. A couple counters, and Miro ended up going through the table with a spear. So I was then going, well, Miro probably isn't going to win this one. Well, it took a little bit. Pac ended up taking out Miro again in the ring. As they were in the ring trying to finish this match, Miro had Pac in a submission move. Then Malachi Black comes in, hits him with the Black Mist. Boom. There's that. Pac locked in Connors with the Brutalizer, or perhaps the Rings of Saturn, if you want to think of it that way. And then got the win via submission. So your inaugural winner of the All Atlantic, because it's all encompassing, All Atlantic Championship is the bastard Pac. There you go.
Kidder, you haven't missed one yet.
That one I chose Miro, so I did.
There. Oh, you did.
I missed that one.
For some reason, I thought you had taken Pac.
No, I mean, it's on video evidence, so I'm not going to lie.
As soon as you said that, I'm like, oh yeah, you did choose Miro. I don't know why. I just like, oh yeah, I think it's because you waxed poetical about Pac for a little bit and his time in WWE that it just like went into my brain that's where Kidder was going. Also, like, it's 11:48 at night and I've been clearly drinking. So
and that's only match 7 of 13.
Okay, let's keep moving.
That was
these shenanigans.
15 minutes, 5 seconds. So the next on the card for tonight, the Dudes with Attitudes and the Bullet Club. This is a 6-man tag team match. Of course, Dudes with Attitudes features Darby Allin, Sting, and Shingo Takagi. I'm sorry for the name. Against the Bullet Club, with El Fantasmo, Matt Jackson, and Nick Jackson, and Hikuleo was there as well. With this one, I went with the Young Bucks because I thought the championships were on the line for this one, but looking at the graphic and obviously having watched the match, the titles were not on the line, and they wouldn't be because there's 6-man tag. They've done weirder things.
Yeah. With this one, I would say I think it's going to be the Bullet Club. I think this is a safe match where you can have basically a New Japan faction go over on AEW and be okay with it. Plus, I'm sure people were excited about Nick and Matt Jackson returning to the Bullet Club for this event. So that'd be my...
Okay, so 13 minutes exactly for the 7th match of the night. Young Bucks and El Fantasmo took on Sting, Darby Allin, and Shingo Takagi. So, again, nothing on the line for this other than the victory. The interesting thing with this one is Shingo Takagi came out first, and then Darby Allin came out, and Sting's music played, and everybody's like, well, where's Sting? Didn't show up. So then the Bullet Club comes out, and of course it's the Super Kick Party. They're coming down to the ring. They're at the bottom of the ramp. Lights go out. I'm like, there's Sting. Sting shows up like up in the rafters somewhere, and then suddenly lights go out again, and then as the lights come up, he clobbers all of the Super Kick Party. It's a huge. I don't know if he swung down from the rafters. I don't know what the hell happened, but he took them all out. So they get back into the ring to start the match. The crowd was pretty into it, but this again was all over the place. So Hikuleo ended up interfering later on in the match on behalf of the Bullet Club, but the ref was distracted at the time. So then, because Sting was in the ring, he was no-selling everything. Super kicks, punches, all kinds of random stuff. He was no-selling. Even the double super kick. Yeah. I'm like, Sting, you're 63. Calm down. So they end up getting the hot tag. They're able to exchange some blows again, some offense, defense, back and forth. There were, again, the lack of selling, like Sting no selling, but it kind of trickled into everybody else getting hit with the big spots and then recovering very quickly. So Takagi was able to pick up the win for the team by pinning Connors. So your winners for this one, the Dudes with Attitude, Darby Allin, Sting, and Shingo Takagi. Or Takagi. I'm sorry. See, even the dryer knows that I can't say his name. I apologized, all right? So Sting is still doing the crazy big bumps, the big dives, and thankfully doing it safely because, I mean, he is 63 years old, so seriously, calm down. Be a little bit, more careful. I know, even Orion is concerned at Sting's behavior. So, yeah. Your thoughts?
Yeah, I got to agree with you. It always kind of alarms me to hear that Sting is doing this. I mean, great that he feels comfortable doing it, but man, I got to worry about him. So, yeah.
Yeah. Next on the match is your AEW Women's World Championship match featuring the champion Thunder Rosa and Australian sensation Tony Storm. I picked Tony Storm for this one, just to make sure that I actually did. Yes, I did. I picked Tony Storm because, well, why not, I guess. This match, just before you pick, 10 minutes, 40 seconds.
I will take Thunder Rosa in this one.
Okay. So off we go. There's no rhyme or reason because Thunder Rosa hasn't really been doing a ton, I guess, with the championship. Maybe just how they book her. She randomly shows up and then, yells at people and wins a match and then leaves. Tony Storm has been kind of all over trying to win the belt a couple different times. And here we are, the really second big time. So they ended up shaking hands at the beginning of the match for the good sportsmanship before the bout. Of course, you watch them try and test each other's limits because of how you have watched them wrestle other matches against other people. Now, they really had to do what they could because all these other matches we've talked about were all over the place, right? So 2 people in the ring, it seemed awfully boring for a bit because there was nothing else going on. There's only 2 people. What else am I going to watch? Oh, the match, right? So really they had a couple errors here and there. There were some good shots back and forth again. It made it believable that Tony Storm really had a chance to take the title from Thunder Rosa. So I really give that an A+ because it really looked, like a contest. At the end, Thunder Rosa hit Tony Storm with one of Dustin Rhodes' signature spinning suplexes. And Thunder Rosa ends up getting the 1, 2, 3 and retaining the AEW Women's World Championship and ended up shaking hands again at the end of the match. Thunder Rosa had some pretty crazy apparel coming down to the ring as well. Giant headdress and like a robe. So, I mean, they're really putting in a lot of work on her look for the pay-per-views. So I give them that. And it was pretty rough in a couple spots, like pile driver that Tony Storm took looked pretty rough, and some of the old chops. Yeah, you get good chopping action. So, your thoughts on that, Howard Blues? 10 minutes 40 seconds.
Nothing really about the match. You made the comment about it was strange to go back to kind of a one-on-one. But this so far, Kidder, kind of reminds me of how a New Japan wrestling pay-per-view is set up. You have a lot of multi-man matches at the beginning, and then you break down into the big single one-on-one matches. So it seems like they're following a very New Japan format in their booking, at least in that case. But yeah, this sounds like a match that's okay that I missed.
He was all right. Yeah. So next on the match list, this is number 10. We're getting there. Will Ospreay with Aussie Open and Orange Cassidy. This is a singles match for the IWGP United States Heavyweight Championship. I picked the OC because he returned and has been a little bit more angry than indifferent.
I do like me some Orange Cassidy, but Will Ospreay has been phenomenal in the last few years. And again, top guy, you hate to see him get pinned, and it's hard to believe New Japan would do that. So I'm going to stick with Will Ospreay on this to retain and keep the status quo.
The status quo. Okay. So, as I mentioned, good old JR earlier, well, he ended up coming out finally and being able to commentate the rest of the show. So I wonder, how his health is doing and if he's okay. So hopefully he's good. That's number one. Second thing, this was 16 minutes, 45 seconds. So, all right. Right away, Orange Cassidy comes on in. He dodges a drop kick and hitting one of his shoulder tackles, but Osprey is just as quick. Ends up doing a nice exchange of takedowns. Well, OC, of course, kept his hands in his pockets as tradition. Now, this really was more of a serious match than a comedy match. So, of course, you have those elements of Orange Cassidy, but it wasn't over the top like a lot of his other matches. So, Orange Cassidy, he was going to town the whole match. He was really, really battling for this championship. So, I give him props for that. Now, the storyline that they really tried to bring to light in this is that Cassidy was trying to show Osprey how good he is, and Osprey was trying to prove that he was a better wrestler. And I think they did pretty well, especially, as they culminated the match. Now, I guess back and forth continued. Again, really good story that they told, and they were able to get their point across as they're doing their storytelling. So again, props to them for that. Now, the unbelievable finishes, Cassidy got hit by several of the huge finishers, ended up kicking out. Osprey finally put him away and got the 1, 2, 3. So yes, he basically got the pin there and got the retention on the belt. So some rumors that Orange Cassidy might be getting new entrance music. I don't know. He didn't have anything different tonight. Orange Cassidy had a giant smile, which normally he doesn't. Osprey hit a super kick that looked like it was pretty deadly, but OC did his best to keep it going. Orange Cassidy broke the turnbuckle camera with Osprey's face. So there was that. And there was 2 moonsaults, a shooting star press, and a corkscrew splash from Osprey. And it was pretty much all in a row. So that's also crazy. So pretty good match. And again, that was 16 minutes, 45 seconds.
Yeah, that doesn't surprise me. The rumor that they're going to change Orange Cassidy's music, now that's kind of interesting because his current music is like perfect for him. Like, I have a hard time. It'd be like whenever, we've complained about people like when Baron Corbin lost his music. Mm-hmm. It's like sometimes people have just really good music that fits them, and you just hate to see it go. So, but this was the match, one of the matches, Kidder, that I was excited to see on the card. Just because, as I said, I like Orange Cassidy. I hear Will Ospreay has been having great matches, so it's just kind of one of those things that, would have been cool to see. So glad to hear that it was a decent match, and maybe I'll catch it sometime.
Yeah,
in the future.
Might be on the YouTubes. Not too sure, but we'll see. Okay, number 11 of 13. This one, Zack Sabre Jr. versus question mark. Who is it? Who was it? Who did it? Who done it? I picked the question mark, and being in, I guess, the hurry that I was, I didn't even put the follow-up bonus question of who do you think ? Would be. This match was 18 minutes, 30 seconds. Howard Blues, your take and your guess as to who the ? Person could be.
I don't have anybody who could be the question mark. I mean,
So to give you an extra piece with this, a morsel, Brian Danielson was supposed to compete in this match, but is injured, so he's unable to compete. So he promised a worthy replacement for Zack Sabre Jr.
Again, I'm not as familiar with the AEW roster, so I don't really know who it could like.
Well, the good thing is it wasn't anybody on the AEW roster. So there's that.
Yeah. Anyway, I'm gonna take I'll take the question mark, whoever this is.
All right. Well, it happens to be Claudio Castagnoli. Who is that, do you ask? Well, it happens to be the Swiss superstar Cesaro in his former WWE naming convention. Yeah, very nice surprise to see Cesaro show up. Claudio, which that is his real name, so he doesn't have to worry about any copyright issues or anything like that. So it's good. Everybody cheered and knew right away. I mean, the logo that popped up on the screen with Claudio Castagnoli, it looked very similar to the logo that he used, or that the WWE had used for him as Cesaro with the Swiss flag and whatnot. Anyway, I picked the question mark as well. I think I mentioned that. And again, this match being 18 and a half minutes long. So Claudio came running in and boom, huge uppercut, gave him the neutralizer right away. 2.9999999, repeating, of course. So they ended up having a bunch of back and forth. There was up and down, crazy moves. Claudio, has quite the strength to prop up his opponents, but then also being able to throw them around the ring. So there was quite a bit of back and forth and some crazy maneuvers of Claudio throwing Zack around the ring. So a lot of technical moves, because that Claudio is quite the technical wrestler on top of it. So not only strength, but the technical part of wrestling, man, it just looked good. It was really good. So the other matches that preceded this one were great in other ways, but this one, it was just a clinic on how to wrestle in a technical format. Very respectful fight between both of them. Creative spots. Of course, Claudio got the swing in there and I think made it up to 9 or 10 on the swing. The crowd was invested in it as well. Of course, they're cheering him on because he debuted in AEW, right? So there is that. Claudio ended up hitting a power bomb on Zack and got the 1-2-3, picking up the pin and his first win in All Elite Wrestling. And he ended up going up to the camera saying, "Thank you. I love all of you. It means a lot to me," that sort of thing. So very nice. He is also part of the Blackpool Combat Club moving forward. So very, very nice. His ring apparel also said that when he debuted at the top of the ramp. So very happy about that. I mean, what a stable, right? You have Brian Danielson, John Moxley, William Regal, Wheeler Yuta, and now you have Mr. Castagnoli. Fantastic. Very, very interesting, and excited to see where they go, what happens with that. Aside from that, Sabre ended up countering the sharpshooter in the match and right into a heel hook. Very cool, very deadly. Looked really good. Your thoughts?
I don't have much to add to that, Kidder. You summarized a lot of what I would kind of say about it. It's great to see Cesaro back in the ring and probably going to get the chances and opportunities that he deserves. And I like that he's partnered with Danielson, Moxley, and Yuta. I think that's great. Yeah.
The interesting thing to note is that Jerome was over here watching this and made the comment as well of, imagine what WWE could have done had Vince liked him. Because he was over and could have been a champion several times over. Well, that's fine. Contract's up. See you later. I'll go somewhere and be successful. Whatever. Good for him.
Hey.
I'm happy for him.
Hey, just a side note right here before we get to the last two matches. Did you see the news, Kidder, that Adam Shearer, a.k.a. Braun Strowman, was here in Bismarck as part of the McQuaid softball tournament?
I did. I saw that he was here. I did not go say hello and reintroduce myself because obviously he knows that I'm the man, the myth, the legend. I already know, but yeah, he was at a Larks game as well, Bismarck Larks, hitting balls, doing some kind of event, meet and greet, etc. But I did not make it over there, and I'm guessing you did not make it over there either.
Nope. I saw that news later this evening, so no, I did not. But I just thought I would throw that out there. Just interesting that he was here and rocking some amazing pink shorts. I gotta just say, I saw one photo of him, and takes a bold man to wear those shorts.
So you're saying I need to get you some pink shorts for Christmas?
No, I'm good. I'm
Sure?
good.
Okay. Kind of sounded like
I'm
you
sure.
wanted some pink shorts.
Now let's get on to the next match. We got what, 2 left?
Yep, this next one is number 12 on the sheet. It featured Jay White, your IWGP World Heavyweight Champion, against Hangman Adam Page, against Kazuchika Okada, against Adam Cole, baby. Yes, a 4-way for the IWGP World Heavyweight Championship. 21 minutes in length, and this fatal 4-way, I chose Jay White to retain.
Jay White's a good pick. Kazuchika Okada is also a very good pick. He held the title for a long time and had some amazing matches against Kenny Omega and such. So he would be another choice. And in fact, that's who I'm going to go with. I'll go with Okada. Because why not?
Okay. Well, there you go. Here we go. First of all, Adam versus Adam started fighting. Of course, their rivalry for the AEW championship. So they had their rivalry to continue. And Okada faced White right away. Then Hangman ended up taking out Cole. He and Okada double-teamed White. So the two Bullet Club allies tried to formulate a game plan at ringside. They took too long, got attacked. Got on the same page, though. Cole and White began to control the pace of the match. Kind of like the previous Fatal 4-Way, this one allowed everyone in the ring to shine at different times. Never really felt like anybody was left out compared to others, where we have those moments of, hey, so-and-so got knocked out of the ring like 5 minutes ago. Where are they? And then suddenly, there they are. But this had nice balance to the match. Now, once it was clear that they all would end up going after each other, White and Cole threw their alliance out. Then a long sequence of near falls and attempted finishing moves from everybody against everybody over and over and over and over. Finally, White ended up scoring the pin over Cole to retain the championship. Got the 1, 2, 3 there. Interesting thing about this is before the match even started, the crowd was chanting, "Holy shit." Okada had the biggest pop out of all four of them. Interestingly enough, because I have honestly no idea who he is. Adam Page did quite a crazy suicide dive in this match. Looked pretty good. Adam Cole and Hangman Adam Page have mastered the super kick to counter a moonsault. So that's always cool to look at. And probably what it felt like anyway is Adam Cole handed out more super kicks in this match than both of the Young Bucks did in their match earlier. So that's something to say. The doctor was also checking on Adam Cole after the match. So uncertain if there's anything with that. But you look at the injury list leading up to this specific pay-per-view, and it's like 2 pages long, which we detailed the other day, which you'll see in another week and a half. But this match was 21 minutes long, and again, Jay White retains the IWGP World Heavyweight Championship.
I mean, that makes sense. As I said, you're not going to see them probably change a lot of titles, especially from New Japan, because they have their stuff in play. But I could see if you were going to change one of their titles, putting it on one of your own guys. And that's why I went with Okada. It doesn't surprise me that he got the biggest pop. He is probably the biggest name in that match. I mean, as I said, he had a trio of matches against Kenny Omega that were just spectacular, including a 60-minute draw. So, yeah, I mean, he's no slouch. I could have seen him getting the title. So, all right, Kidder. Hey, you know what? We've made it all the way here to the main event. We haven't had, like, the screwy finish of the night. It's been
Correct.
A pretty clean pay-per-view.
Yes, I do have to say that DraftKings was the premier sponsor of this show, and just like the last one, 30 seconds into the pay-per-view, you get everybody amped up, and hey, DraftKings is sponsoring this. Let's look at a message from them, and just kills the momentum of the top of the show. Absolute trash. I hate it. Put it right before it on the pre-show, or wait until after the first match is done. We already know that DraftKings is part of this because they're part of every freaking thing. So why not? Whatever. I'll just spoil it. There's really nothing for the night that even constitutes anything close to a DraftKings screwy finish of the night. So the screwy finish is us weaseling out of handing out the title of a DraftKings screwy match finish of the night.
Yeah.
There we go.
Well, Kidder, there's been enough talking. It's time for the main event.
All right, guys. Thanks, guys. you two are here and you want to fight. So, Jon Moxley and Hiroshi Tanahashi, you're here for the main event. This match went 18 minutes 20 seconds. And this is for the interim AEW World Championship. I chose Jon Moxley. Hiroshi Tanahashi, how do you feel about that pick? Well, guys, there's been enough talk. It's time for the main event. Yes, I know that Howard just did that, but I had to do it too. Why? Because it's every Rampage. And I think it's hilarious. So, Mark Henry, please do not change that. Just keep doing that. Because I can say that while you say it without knowing that you're going to say it, but you're going to say it, and then I get laughs. So, thank you. Thank you for that. Again, I chose Jon Moxley to pick this one up because to me, it makes sense for the AEW interim championship to remain in AEW.
Exactly my logic. Even though Tanahashi, the ace of New Japan, again, also a very illustrious career in New Japan. I'm trying to give you an idea, Kidder, because I know you don't follow New Japan. This is be like Triple H, somebody who's held the title for many times and long times and won prestigious tournaments and things like that. Basically coming and facing Moxley. I mean, it's that kind of staple of such is the best easy way to know. Now we're gonna get people who are upset that I compared Tanahashi to Triple H, but it's just an example, guys. Just trying to help Kidder out. I'm choosing Moxley though for the same reason that Kidder is. It makes sense to keep it in AEW.
I do have to say though, if you would like to send hate mail, you can email him, howard@beerbluesbs.com, or you can email me, kidder@beerbluesbs.com, or instead of having to open up your email, remember that, come back to this window, change to the other window, type it, half of it, and then go back and forth. Just go to the comments, type a couple comments, say that you made it to this part of the video. We really appreciate your viewership. So, here we go. The main event. Now, this one, straight up, right away, a technical wrestling start. Everybody else going 90 miles an hour. This one, boom, right there. So, nice steady pace, classic sequencing. It's a classic wrestling match to start out with. You knew that the shenanigans were going to roll, and they certainly did. Well, they started trading strikes. Moxley, being the brawler, you could tell had the obvious advantage over Tanahashi. So there is that. They ended up going back to the mat, doing some grappling. Tanahashi seemed to take over at that point, but never really felt like either person was in total control for more than a short period of time through the match. So it was nice because it was competitive going back and forth throughout the match. Now, there's a lot to like about it, a lot to enjoy, but it just didn't quite get to that level where it's the best wrestling match of the night, or the best wrestling match that these two could have, right? From my understanding, these two have met several times in the past several years in New Japan or other places, and so without seeing those, I can't compare this match to those, but other people were saying that it didn't quite live up to it. I don't know. That's for you and your opinion, because I don't have one on that. So here, several near falls. We're going back and forth again. Moxley ends up hitting the paradigm shift. Yes, that's a 1, 2, 3. Sorry. Moxley went full Justin Roberts there on that. Jon Moxley picks up the interim AEW World Championship. So there is that. As I mentioned earlier in the show, the New Japan Pro Wrestling ring announcer was saying each of the announcing pieces in Japanese alongside Justin Roberts. So very interesting to show that it is, again, that cooperative show. Moxley hit a cutter out of nowhere. That was pretty nice. Moxley ended up bleeding again in this, and he kind of looked like my Waldo's back over here. Or perhaps even Howard's jersey. The blood was everywhere, like like usual. So there was a lot of blood, a lot of different places. Now, this one, the match is over. So again, we cannot claim this as the DraftKings screwy finish of the night because the match is over. But Moxley and Tanahashi shared a little bit of respect there at the end of the match, which was, of course, nice to see. Then Daniel Garcia and Jericho ran down and attacked both of them. Eddie Kingston came running out, but then Wheeler Yuta, Santana, and Ortiz also ran out, and then it turned into a big cluster. Then the rest of the Jericho Appreciation Society and Castagnoli joined the fight to end the show with a huge brawl. We'll sort it out all Wednesday night for blood and guts. So that match was 18 minutes, 20 seconds. The shenanigans afterward were another 3 to 5-ish minutes. So overall, not too bad. It, for me, was somewhat annoying because I'm keeping attention on both TVs and trying to listen to both TVs at the same time because we can't let our Avalanche down. Watching them win their first Stanley Cup in 21 years. And then we can't miss this because content. So anyway, your final thoughts kind of on the show as it has been described to you.
It sounds like it was an okay show. I think if you really followed New Japan, you may have a little bit more like excitement about it, but I just don't know that the build was quite there to get everybody. Like, if you're not following that, other promotion, it just might not matter quite as much or not seem quite as big. I think this show was definitely affected by the sheer amount of injuries that AEW is suffering from, because I think you missed out on what would have been some bigger matches because of that. But overall, sounds like it was an okay show. Maybe not the best we've seen out of AEW, but not the worst. And such. And yes, I know everybody can see the scoreboard up there and see, but Kidder, it's a tie. We both got 9 correct, so it's a draw on bragging rights. So
after 60 minutes, look what you've come to expect. A draw.
Yep.
That's fine. I was very much hoping to see CM Punk defend the title, but obviously the week after he won the last pay-per-view, having the injury and having to go get rehab and surgery and won't be back, through the rest of the year. Very disappointing, but I'd rather him be healthy and be able to compete for many, many years to come. So with that, that's 13 matches, and we have to wait another week. Yes, one more week until Money in the Bank, because that's next Saturday. We're going to need more alcohol. or something else to help us through it. Closing thoughts, Howard Blues.
Not really much. I think it kind of summed it up pretty well on that last one. And I think, Kidder, I think we've been talking for quite a while, and clearly it's time we wrap this up with some cheap plugs, so we can both go to bed, because we both got jobs that we need to report to in the morning.
Dang employment and like grown-up jobs. If only we had a sponsor to help us not have to work Monday through Friday, and we could just do this, more quality content for the internet. By the way, if you'd like to sponsor the show or visit us or buy us a beer, you can do that at beerbluesbs.com. That's our website. Again, beerbluesbs.com. If you would, join us on our YouTube page, our Facebook page, perhaps any of the audio listening services, and click the thumbs up for each episode. And subscribe to our channel so you always get the latest videos and posts. We would appreciate it. And then, sharing is caring. If you help disseminate the fun info to all of your friends, family, and fans. If you have fans like I do, then we would make this show even bigger. I'm still waiting to have fans, by the way. I have one fan. It's over that way, sitting in a storage room. Anyway, really appreciate you joining us for this and every edition of Beer, Blues, and BS. If you're on the audio versions, we're on every audio platform out there, including iHeartRadio, Pandora, Amazon Music, Spotify, Stitcher, FM, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, and many more. Find the list on our website, beerbluesbs.com, and we would love for you to buy us a beer or buy some sweet merch, like some sweet pint glasses that are available for you. Click the merch button at beerbluesbs.com. So for Howard Blues, for your Stanley Cup 2022 champions, the Colorado Avalanche, I'm the man, the myth, the legend, Mark Kidder. Thanks for joining us for this and every episode of Beer, Blues, and BS. Remember, keep your glass at least half full. There's free beer tomorrow, and we will catch you on down that icy Tuscan highway. Have a wonderful rest of your morning, day, evening, or night, whenever and wherever you may be. Thanks again. We'll see you on the next one.
You have been listening to a UA production of Beer, Blues, and BS. If you enjoyed the show, help others find out about it by rating the show or leaving a review at your podcast listening service of choice. Thanks for listening, and may your glass never be empty.